Back here on the Pentium 60, decided to see if we can go ahead and run some benchmarks to give an overall idea of what the system is like. Sorry if I don't hold the camera correctly. My tripod is upstairs and I'm still in the basement. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and do Doom max details for faster PCs. Now we've all seen the footage, so I'll just skip right to the end here. And that's the final results for... I'm moving the camera down. Man, I'm really bad at this. That's the results for Doom. Max details. Let's go ahead and do a Quake time demo. Let's do the 360 by 4... What is that, 400? 480? It is 480. By the way, I am running with a 4 megabyte disk cache as well. Oh, this is going to be glitchy. And once again, everybody's seen the footage, so I will just skip right to the end. And that's the results from doing Doom. It was pretty much... I'm sorry, Quake, not Doom. And it was barely doing 10 frames per second. It looks like it was doing 6.1 according to the results here. So, yeah, even though it's a Pentium, it's the slowest of the Pentiums. Go ahead and exit out of that. And I've got another benchmark to try here. One moment. Alright. Got myself a copy of PC Bench 9.0 from Ziff Davis. This is a very popular benchmarking suite back in the day. Let's go ahead and do all tests. So this is probably going to take a while to run. I don't know if anybody really wants to watch the footage of benchmarks running. Most of the benchmarking just happens in the background. It's only the video tests that actually change. Unfortunately, we also have this crazy flicker too. Really need to get myself an LCD for this. But I want to use a square LCD. I don't want the widescreen ones. It doesn't give an authentic DOS experience if it's widescreen. I'm just going to go ahead and pause and skip to the end. Save you guys the boring parts. Alright, and the benchmark is done. These are the results. Not that we have anything really to compare them with. Look at that fast math coprocessor. Memory results. Graphics results. All these really high numbers that are meaningless without comparison. It's an interesting benchmark suite. It was very popular back in the day. I remember Ziff Davis always insisted on when they would review computers back in the 90s, they would use their benchmark suite here that they custom wrote to test all the software. I wonder if I can compare. No, I can't. Yeah. Something's wrong there. Nope, I don't want to save the results. And I've got one more thing I want to show you. Be right back. Alright, just logging into Windows here. The last one I want to show is a Windows program. It actually originated with Netroom Memory Manager. It's called Discover. When Netroom merged with a few other companies and they were called Network Associates, they had their own utility suite to compete with Norton Utilities, and they were called Nuts and Bolts. And I believe McAfee was a part of that suite. Anyways, and they made a Windows version of the Discover program. And it's one of my favorite programs because it's nice looking for one, I think, for an application of the time. It's a nice little system information program. It's pretty accurate. Like to get that upgraded to 2 megs of video memory so I can have more memory space in Windows here. And just to take a look here, gives you all sorts of information about the processor. Nice little image there. 8 kilobytes of data, 8 kilobytes of code, 256 kilobytes of level 2 cache on the motherboard. All these features that it supports here. Even gives information like this I like here. Tells you the installed video memory and the video memory required just for the screen resolution and the color depth. So for what I have selected here, I need a full 600 kilobytes of memory just to run the screen resolution. That leaves roughly 400 kilobytes left over for any sort of buffering or advanced 3D effects. Advanced for the day, of course. But I wanted to pop over here. It's got its own built-in benchmark as well. This gives you at least a comparison. It's got a Pentium 100 there, and a 486 100, and a 486 33. And it seems to be pretty linear. I mean, the Pentium 100 scores 100, the Pentium 60 scores a 60. Obviously, it's slightly different for the 486 classes, so I think this was really tuned to the original Pentium. And then, of course, you could also go advanced, and you can get more detailed information about benchmarking. A sieve benchmark, a dry stone, a wet stone, and whatever mode switch is. And then it gives you the overall speed of everything once it's done performing the benchmarks. As you can see, the graphs are changing there. And then there's a video benchmark that automatically kicks off. And it only compares it to a relative to a standard VGA. Well, it looks like we are having some graphics difficulties there. It's probably a problem with the driver, would be my guess. And it's complete, and we can barely make it out, but it looks like it's got a roughly 1.2 times faster than a standard VGA for graphics mode, and 2.5 times, well, 2.4 times faster than a standard VGA. Then it's got a RAM benchmarks here. It starts off with 16-bit. Gives you sequential read and write, random read and write. And now the Pentium series has a 64-bit data path to memory. So these should be a lot faster than, say, a 486 or 386. It only has a 32-bit path to memory. Unfortunately, they don't give you a comparison of other machines, so it just gives you the individual results of this machine, unlike the CPU benchmark where they actually give you the results of other machines. And I don't remember if it switches over to 32-bit automatically or if I have to hit the 32-bit graphs. I think it switches over automatically when it's done. My God, that flicker is terrible. What happened? No, that only makes it worse. Holy cow. Yep, there we go. It switched over automatically to the 32-bit graphs. I'm more interested in the 32-bit numbers. You can tell where the caching is. Like, here's the 16 kilobytes of the CPU cache, the 8 plus 8. And then here's the 256 kilobytes of level 2 cache, all the way up to 1 meg. And bear in mind, this is the slowest of the Pentium, excuse me, slowest of the Pentiums ever released, a Pentium 60 with a 60 megahertz frontside bus. This is an interesting anomaly, going up and then down. And this is running Intel's 430 LX chipset, if I remember correctly. I think they only had 2 chips that's compatible with socket 4. I think it was the 430 LX and the 430 NX. I think the NX was older than the LX. I'm really stretching with my memory here. I can't remember. It looks like we're done. Yeah, it looks like the results are almost double across the board. So not very bad at all. So that's the benchmarking of the Pentium 60 with the floating point bug. So thank you for watching, and watch out for my next video.